Hey, what's going on, everybody? You know how we do at this point, so let's just get into it. Official mood of the day. Love it. Um, I just want to talk about a particular issue about another Republican hypocrisy, but I just want to talk about the line of logic about how I think Republicans in this specific day, MAGA Republicans, are literally using reverse logic in order to get their point. And instead of just explaining around it, I'm just going to get right into it and use two issues. So the first I'm going to use is immigration, and the second I'm going to use is voting and voter fraud. So let's just get into it. So um, foremost, I just want to say that I think like all Americans are against voter fraud, right? And all Americans are against open borders and people entering our country illegally, right? I think that we just have different methods about going to address the issue. But what Republican and MAGA Republicans have managed to do is make this a polarizing issue. To make it say, like, hey, if you're not for our solutions for these issues, then you're actually for the opposite. So if you're not for our issue of being completely ignoring habeas corpus, just kidnapping people and ICE having not showing their faces. If you're not for that cruelty, then somehow you are pro illegal immigration, right? And if somehow you're not for shutting down the voting rights of so many people and clearing the rolls and all these things that actually disenfranchise millions more people, then somehow you're in support of unfair elections. So they have literally polarized the issue into you agreeing with their solution, which is like the opposite of democracy. But I digress on that specific point. I just want to get into some specific examples about this false logic model. So in the case of immigration, you know what I'm saying? And this is by Republican numbers. Like this isn't like I know whenever there's a study or a statistic that happens to come out that shows negatively against Republicans, they just attack the source. You know what I'm saying? Like they love the Congressional Budgetary Office until it reveals something that's off. They love Wall Street numbers and bankers until they say something that disagrees. They love the Wall Street Journal until it disagrees with them. You know what I'm saying? This is a big pattern, right? They love to use these sources that validate them, but as soon as anything or anyone goes against them, then they become mud, then they're trash, then everything else. I digress. But from Republican statistics, immigration officials, and this is even before all the crazy ICE stuff that's going on right now, because Trump doesn't want to keep statistics anymore, right? He doesn't want there to be official, bipartisan, objective statistics on anything because it will reveal, you know what I'm saying, the horrors of what he's doing. But this is just based on like past statistics that from Republican and Democratic administrations that immigration people get it wrong at least 20% of the time. That when they're apprehending people, they apprehend people that actually have green cards, they apprehend actual citizens, they apprehend people that don't need to be apprehended, right? And that's 20% of the time. And that was during normal times. So, of course, the error rate is higher. And then you see all the stories on the news that they claimed they were going after the criminals, the people that are unemployed, the drugs of society, the dregs of society. But where are they going? They're going to schools. They're going to places of work. They're going to actual courthouses where people are having their legalization processes. So they literally are targeting people who are following the law and people who are working, right? You would think, where are they going? Where are the like, and no criminal records? Another digression, but it's like we all know that was going to happen, except for I guess the people that voted, or maybe they voted for the cruelty. But I digress. But that is at least an over a 20% error, and instead of concentrating on that high error, they say, "Hey, are you for illegal immigrants? If you're against them coming to our country, then you have to ignore this error because the ends justify the means, right? So fuck all the cruelty, fuck all the errors, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that we're getting them out is the primary goal. And who cares who gets caught up? Who cares about any of those errors? You know what I'm saying? Like fuck errors. But then you get to a situation like voting, right, where voter fraud is basically non-existent. And even Republican officials, not even bipartisan, even Republican officials have stated, that there basically is no voter fraud. It's like let far less than 1 percentage point. But what are Republicans doing at that point? They're trying to blow up this less than 1% rate as a reason to shut down the entire system, right? The fact that there's this small little bit of error that's negligible to all studies, they are willing to disenfranchise a large majority of people and shut down voting in general. And that logic flips on its face. So, in one scenario in immigration, you want people to ignore all of the errors that happen because, hey, the ends justifies the means, except when it comes to voting. So, voting, the ends don't justify the means. So, you're willing to shut down voting and actually disenfranchise more people for this little fake thing of fraud. And then when you actually break down the fraud mostly happens with people identifying as Republican. So it's like you are policing your own alleged fraud that is negligible, but then you're blowing that issue up like, oh my God, we have to be perfect, except in an issue where you're glaringly not perfect in immigration and you just choose to chill and do the same thing that way. So I just need us to look at this issue and look at these and transfer it to everything. This is what they do. They flip that logic between look at the error, don't look at the error. Look at the error, don't look at the error. Are you for us or against us? And what the main thing is if you aren't for what they believe is a solution to a problem, then you are for the problem. And I just really need us to get outside of that bipolar, kind of like, excuse me, like polarized method of thinking. It's just like we have to stop allowing them to tell us that. Like you can care about these things and you should make your own determination about them. And don't say, hey, if you're not for this, you can't be about it. Like you can't be pro-gun unless you're for allowing the gun lobby to have bump stocks and not have background checks and all that stuff. Somehow that means you're like against the Second Amendment because that's what they are trying to tell you to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like crime. You're anti-crime. Like you could say like, hey, there's some errors in policing, right? You know what I'm saying? Systemic errors in policing. But hey, if you bring that up, somehow you're anti-crime. So apply it to any issue you want. Know that they're just fooling with you and counting on you to be stupid and not think logically. So until next time.